Hey, there we go. Good morning, everyone. It is Thursday, March 22nd. I nearly forgot what day of the week it is. Thursday, March 22nd. I'm back for some more live coding. My name is Jeff Fritz. I'm glad you're here to join us today. I've got another guest here to help us with a little pair programming, and I'm excited because we've been using his product again and again with our pair programmers here on stream. So it's I'm really excited to introduce Jonathan Carter. Hey, Jonathan.
Hey Jeff, happy to be here.
Thank you so much. I've seen you and some of the other guys from the team hanging out in the chat room. Why don't you introduce yourself so folks know who you are?
Yeah, our team is pretty big fans of your show, so we have been lurking, and it's fun to actually be a part of it. Yeah, my name is Jonathan Carter. I'm a program manager in the Visual Studio team, and I have the pleasure of working on Visual Studio Live Share,
Yeah.
and getting to build a product that we see cool people like yourself doing pair programming and live streaming and so forth. I've been at Microsoft for a little over 10 years.
Cool.
Um, did ASP.NET development for much of my career before joining Microsoft, and have kind of bounced around all over the company over that last decade, but largely been involved in developer tooling. So that's really kind of my passion. Um, and so LiveShare just kind of fits naturally into that.
And live share when I saw it announced at Connect 2017 in New York City, folks
Yeah.
were talking about this like, my gosh, this is the hotness. This is the really cool thing that's going to let folks who are remote programmers, you have a distributed team, be able to work together on projects. When you talk about folks that do extreme programming or agile development, they would always want to do pair programming with the picnic benches, sitting together, right? Two developers, one screen, and they're passing keyboard back and forth. But this actually does it for folks.
hmm
Oh,
Yeah, when we were kind of doing some of the research that led to the creation of LiveShare, we talked to hundreds of developers that were doing some form of pair programming, whether it was a bit more formal like extreme programming or, as we call ad hoc or opportunistic pair programming, where it's
mm,
not necessarily two people setting up a shared machine or having a schedule where they're working on a task. It could also just be more um, spur of the moment where you have an issue that you're really wanting some assistance with, or you have some code you'd like an informal review on before you send out a PR. But in general, it all looks very similar where you want to collaborate with someone, maybe multiple people, and you want to do that in a way that's comfortable for both parties,
oh yeah.
which not necessarily can be achieved with screen sharing because I don't know, Jeff, your VS theme might not be what I like to look at. But the other thing is screen sharing and other technologies are kind of inherently one directional.
Oh
And even
yeah.
if you can negotiate control back and forth, it's still not as natural of an interaction as it can be, particularly with pair programming,
Mm-hmm.
where
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times, we're working on a task together, but then you and I might say, hey, let's go, you look at this part, I'll look at that part, and then we'll reconvene when we're done. And so being able to have that experience where you can kind of collaborate together, but independently, depending on the needs of the task you're working on, was something we were excited about trying to help achieve.
Oh my gosh, yes. Right when I think of the way that I used to share and work on code together with someone, right? I would pair program with somebody who's, on the other side of the country from me or even in a different
Mm,
continent from me. I had coworkers that were in Europe and I could only see right what was being shared on screen and
right.
we had to pass control. It was a pain in the neck. And you're right.
Totally.
I didn't even think about the theming, right? Because I like the dark theme now, and my colleagues like the light theme, and I can control my experience my experience completely separate from them. So
hmm
yeah. All right.
And what's beyond just one other thing I want to mention too that we didn't really anticipate when we first created the product, but have since really come to love, is that it isn't just about your VS or VS Code theme, it's also your OS configuration. And so we've seen
Oh.
how LiveShare has helped with accessibility in that
Really?
developers, yeah. So if we have some folks that we've had the pleasure of working with that have said, hey, we have developers on our team that maybe have some visual impairments
Okay.
or other reasons why they had to, let's say, increase the, they're using a magnifier on their end, or they're using a
Oh.
screen reader, and the fact
Or
that,
special fonts?
or special fonts, or
Okay.
you've increased the cursor size, and all of that doesn't impact your ability to use LiveShare at all, because that's effectively a view level customization, and LiveShare is about synchronizing model and state.
Okay.
And so that's kind of another thing that we're pretty excited about, enabling efficient, effective collaboration between developers, regardless what their individual preferences but also needs are, either at the OS level or the tooling level.
I hadn't thought of that. I had so to be clear, right, for folks that haven't seen us use LiveShare before, and we're going to use it in just a
Yeah.
moment here. When I look at LiveShare, I was thinking of it more like when I open Word online, right? When I open Microsoft Word online and I'm in the web browser and I can see the little flag where the other co-editors of the document, and we're all looking at the exact same snapshot of the document.
Right.
It's a white
Hmm.
background, black text, and we all see and feel the exact same thing. And
Yep.
what you're telling me is LiveShare isn't pushing the document, it's pushing the code, and
Yep. The
just the
code and
code.
Yep, the code, and then additional state that is relevant to the interaction. So like
Oh,
debugging, context.
okay.
Um, and yeah, the mantra that we kind of use is share your context, not your screen. Because with Word, and I could be wrong, by the way, but it's not common that people customize or trick out their Word
Hmm.
client, right? It's kind
Yeah.
of like, yeah, we're both looking at a white document. Whereas developers, right, we spend a lot of time reading code. We have our favorite tools. We take pride in the extensions, the themes, the key bindings. That stuff you don't want to lose, but it's also so subjective, right? I mean,
Oh yeah.
every week I look at the marketplace for VS and VS Code to look at themes that people are, trending, and some of them I'll just think this is atrocious. But hey, that's your
Somebody
preference.
likes it. Yeah.
Somebody likes it, and that's beautiful, because that's a big fundamental difference between kind of document collaboration that has existed for a long while, like Office, and collaborative development, because the individual preferences and customizations is so vast, and you want to maintain that because you've built up a visual familiarity, you've built up a huge amount of ergonomics that are making you productive,
Oh yeah.
um, and so yeah, that's what LiveShare is trying
It's
to help with.
it's my workbench. Don't mess
Mhm.
with my workbench.
Exactly. Yeah, get off my lawn. Like,
Yeah. All right.
yeah.
So we wanted to work on a little bit of ASP.NET code here and show off some of the Visual Studio Live Share features. So let me go over to our code here and we can start taking a look at our project here. Let's see. We've got there we go. We've got some new followers. And thank you. Oh my gosh, Boo Hiss. Thank you for the subscription. Uh, I really appreciate you subscribing to the channel here. Gosh, that's great. Some of our other friends are there in the chat room. Check Digits, he's over there in the UK. Thanks so much. Look at that. Such a great idea and well implemented too. Job well done. And there's Mr.
Awesome.
Magoo, loving what you have done with VS Live Share and wondering is it using a projection buffer across the wire?
Well, it actually is using a protocol called operational transforms to synchronize edits as they are made, and then apply those on all participants' side without conflicting.
Okay.
Um, so over the wire is very much a tool agnostic experience,
Mm,
such that regardless if in our case, Jeff, you're in Visual Studio on Windows, I'm in VS Code on a Mac. Those two
yeah.
tools have very different views of the world, um, and so over the wire we're actually just synchronizing the text of the document and the edits that we're making.
Okay. Okay. So I've already started this project and we've already got you connected with LiveShare. You can see Jonathan's icon up here on the screen. Good morning, Vortex, and good morning, Standby Reloading. It's great to see some of our regulars here with us. And now we're being hosted. Thank you, Amgadi. I hope I pronounced that right. So there we can see where Jonathan is in this file. So that's a right? That's a quick and easy way to immediately see where we're collaborating together. That's really cool.
Yep.
And we had a request for a feature out here that we had previously discussed. We wanted to start taking a look at. So over here on the project page out on GitHub, one of the issues that was raised was a feature suggestion here from Banana Tails. And let me tell you, Jonathan, I love the handles from some of these folks.
Yep.
The follower count style is hard coded in the CSS, and there's no style in current viewers. So it would be good to add a configuration like the follower goal configuration in the way to the way the follower count and viewer count be able to change font color, background size, text, etc. So I'm just going to create a little task list here. Don't I have to put a tab there or something? I think it's something like that.
Mhm.
Let's say configuration, fix that O, for follower goal. And then let's do another one here, configuration for viewers. All right, and that should give us a little checkbox list. So we had previously discussed, let's work on configuring that follower goal. So if you look here on the screen, right here above my mouse, there's the number of followers. Oh no, it's the number of followers, not follower goal. Let's change that. Follower count. There we go. So the follower count right here next to Jonathan's picture, we're going to go and we're going to try and put together a little configuration page for that today. So let's
Cool.
go back over here. Now, you said you're connected in on a Mac
Yep.
using Visual Studio Code, right? So
Hmm.
here's one of those first things that folks are a little confused about when they see this. It's not just Visual Studio 2017. It's also Visual Studio Code,
Correct. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not just Visual Studio Code on Windows.
Yep. It's Visual Studio Code currently on Mac and Windows, and then we're on the brink of releasing Linux support as well.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And so that's kind of the key of, when we sought out to build LiveShare, we wanted to distill the set of primitives, so to speak, that we could share between participants that was agnostic to the tool, and then allow VS and VS Code to translate that into their idiomatic UI experience. And so in the
Mm,
case of files, or the case of my cursor, which is really just a position within a file, or I can highlight some text, which you see show up on your screen, which
yeah.
is also just a span. And so how that looks
Ah.
and the gesture and the keyboard bindings can be different on both sides. But yeah, we fully support VS and VS Code interchangeably. Um,
Okay, so coming soon for Linux. That's something that I know the Linux community is going to go a little bonkers for. Now,
yeah.
it, why don't we just try running the project first to make sure that I've got everything still in a place where it works?
Okay.
So I'm just going to click the debug start here. Now, this should start and run on your machine also, right?
That is correct.
All right. So while that's starting on my machine here, do you want to share your screen? And then I've got a configuration I can do here that'll allow us to see both screens at the same time. So there you can see the debugger starting over here. All right, so you're sharing your screen. So I'm going to just change scenes here real quick. So now my screen is up here on the top. And on the side here, you can see Jonathan's screen. Now, I mean, check that out. All I did was hit debug start, and you see the exact same thing that's on my screen.
Yep. And just to kind of drive home the point, let me make this not full screen, and you can see it's localhost 59201.
Which is the same URL that I have on my side.
Yes.
Now, I just got a push. You probably saw the numbers update here. I just got a push from SignalR that updated my screen. Can you scroll down and show that your follower count in there updated also? Okay, so that's really cool. I've got
Yeah.
the same SignalR updating both browsers, even though
Mm-hmm.
you're in Seattle, you're in Redmond, and I'm here in
Yep.
Philadelphia, right? The
Yep.
magic of the internet.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is taking advantage of, another one of the key features of LiveShare, where, when you're collaborating on, in this case, a web application, it's not just sufficient to be able to share code and cursor and text highlights and debug sessions, but also in this case, if I'm going to help you with this follower count widget, I want to be able to see it and
Oh
interact with
yeah,
it on my end. And
absolutely.
so, yep. And so when you hit F5, we, automatically tunneled effectively that local port on your machine to me, and using that same secure channel that we have that we're collaborating on it with the file level. But now I'm able to view this app in my browser.
Very cool. In the chat room, Banafis, I hope I pronounced that right, says Microsoft's inclusion of Linux and Mac is what brought me back to .NET. Very cool. We're very happy to hear that. I hope you try and like Visual Studio Code. Our friend Brady Gaster says he's listening in his Jeep, driving to work.
Oh, hey,
Don't
Brady.
don't watch too closely, Brady. Keep your eyes on the road. All right. Let's see. Hey, Jeff and Jonathan, is there going to be a public beta or a target timeline for release? So I know we're in kind of like a private beta, right? We're in a private preview.
Yep.
Is there some way that we can get some of the folks in our chat room, some of our viewers, access to this today? Some of the folks have been around for a little bit.
Yeah, like I said, Jeff, our team is such big fans of your show that anyone that's watching your show right now or for the rest of the time we're on, we will get them invites into the live share beta this afternoon.
Hang on. Everyone. I mean, right now I'm showing 64 people are watching. We're going to probably have some folks join in and watch on YouTube later. Everyone that's watching, we're going to give them access to live share today.
Everyone.
Oh
We
man.
need we need feedback, and I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that people that are watching your show are the kind of motivated, awesome people that will give us good feedback on how to improve the product. So
All right.
yeah, we'll get everyone an invite
All right.
today.
Here's what I'm going to do. I don't want to do it on that screen. Let me do it over here. I'm going to post into the Twitch chat room. If you go to, I was only going to send this to a couple people. If you go to this website, VSLS, so that's the same as Visual Studio Live Share. Go to VSLS. Don't go to that. You could go to the live share sign up page, but for folks that want to get it today, go to vsls.jeffreyfritz.com. There's a quick survey there for you to fill out with your email address. I want to know which service you're kind of watching me on, so I know that you're actually watching. And then we're going to drop a code word to make sure that you're actually watching this, right? So the link doesn't get passed around. We want to make sure that our actual viewers are watching. So what kind of a code word should we make up to make sure that folks can put in there that we know they're watching? Brady was saying he was driving in his Jeep. Why don't we just make it Jeep, Jeep?
Yep.
All
In
right.
honor of Brady.
There you go. So go ahead and fill out that survey. Put in your email address and use the code word Jeep, Jeep, and we'll make sure that you get access to live share today. That's so awesome. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I really appreciate that. And it looks like some of the folks here in the chat room are excited about that.
Cool. Yeah, we're excited.
All right. So let's start writing some code together and show off a little bit more about this. So see, look at that. You did the Mac swipe and we can see everything. There's your Visual Studio Code.
Yep.
And you were saying something about debugging, right? So you can actually put breakpoints in here and see like stop processing.
Yep. Yep. I mean, what's cool? Yeah.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
if I went to followers/count, right, and that is the followers controller count, right? So if you put a breakpoint there, folks are saying they're having a problem with that URL. Let me try it one more time. VSLSJeffreyFritz.com. It was working last night. Why am I getting a request for a password? This should be anybody allowed in. What are you getting when you... Yep, URL worked for a bunch of people. That's not my server. That's actually an Excel survey. Oh, wow. Okay, Excel Online's taking a long time to load. Whew. We broke Excel. Right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, right? JeffreyFritz.com.
You're too big for Excel, Jeff.
I know, right? What did I do? So it opened over here on my Mac on the side. I don't know, man. Am I that? Do we have that many folks? Just get the Excel online loading page. It loaded
Yeah.
eventually for me.
Hmm. Yeah, you broke the internet, man.
I broke the internet. We are that amazing.
Yeah, no, it's you, Jeff. It's you.
I didn't do it. Wow, that is. Please check back soon. Oh my gosh, our services aren't available right now. Look at that. Everything is broken
Wow.
today. NuGet, MyGet, GitHub. It's the Fritz effect. No, no,
Well,
no.
live share is still working.
Live share is still working. Absolutely. All right, let's come back and try that link a little bit later.
Yeah.
I'll just leave it here loading on my screen. So you let's do this debug thing. So you can put a breakpoint there on line 75 where it's returning the follower
So
count.
so here's the thing, Jeff.
Okay.
And I'm going to show the good news and the bad news here, and this is kind of currently a bug. The good news is, and we didn't actually make this point earlier, but I am in VS Code, but even more interesting, I do not have the C# extension even installed
Wait.
right now, even though I'm debugging.
Okay. So you're getting syntax highlighting.
Yeah.
And all are you getting like IntelliSense?
Yeah, well, like even here, you see I'm getting the output from the
From the debug
application
console.
that's actually running.
Yeah.
Yep. And so the reason I bring this up is that currently, right, and this is still a preview product, even though we allow guests, which in this case I'm the guest, to set breakpoints, because I don't have the C# extension installed, there's nothing on my end that tells VS Code I can set a breakpoint in a C# file.
Oh.
And so we will fix that. And normally, if I had the C# extension installed, I could just click line 75, but I cannot.
Okay.
That
So
said, if you do it, it will show up on my end,
okay.
and then we can hit it, and we can then step debug together.
So but that almost feels like kind of the price to pay, right? When you're getting syntax highlighting, you're getting a little bit of IntelliSense, you're getting those C# features, but when you want to actually now start doing that next level interaction with the debugger, it's like, yeah, you need C# at that point.
Yeah, and so you see here, if you still have my screen up,
Oh
the
yeah.
breakpoint you just set is right here. And here's what's even
So
cooler.
I'll turn it off and it disappears?
Mm-hmm.
All right,
There might be a
little bit of a delay. There it goes.
A little bit of a delay, and so for folks that are watching, right, we are still making performance improvements, but you notice it went away, you just set it back.
Okay.
And so, yeah, so that's kind of another thing with live share, right, is it's, we're sharing files, we're sharing edits, cursor, but breakpoints is another set of kind of model context or data that is part of the collaboration session, and so live share takes care of synchronizing those between all participants as well.
Okay. All right. So I put the breakpoint on. So now if you go over and refresh your browser, it'll hit this.
Yeah. Should I refresh or should I hit the follower count?
Oh yeah, hit the followers count. So and now it broke on mine, and now mine. I know my screen's a little bit smaller to see, but we can really see it there on your screen that we're both at the breakpoint. Now, oh my gosh, you've got full access to this keyword.
And so that's the key, right? Is that I have no C# tooling installed, period, on this Mac, and I'm now step debugging your application running on your environment. And so yeah, like you said, I can inspect the call stack here, which isn't currently too exciting.
Exciting.
We can make it exciting. I can expand, the local variables as I want. I could step this thing. I can see, as we talked about, the output of the debug console here. So, here's the request that got started on that URL that we hit. So I'm getting the full-blown debugging experience on my end, even though the app is running on your machine and the tools needed to debug it are on your machine.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little crazy. All right.
Yeah.
So we're doing this. It's C#. It's ASP.NET Core. Does this support all the C# projects, all the .NET Core projects? What's the scope of projects? It won't work with Xamarin right now, will it?
Well, so that's a good question, and the answer is a little bit nuanced currently, only because we're in the preview. But of the set of features that LiveShare supports, the ability to join in and get basic syntax highlighting and edit the file and share your cursor and highlights, that works for anything. So you could be working on a Xamarin app, you could be working on, a kernel driver, you could be building
We were doing
a
an
block.
analyzer on Tuesday, a
You could
Roslyn
be doing it.
analyzer.
You could be doing a Roslyn analyzer, and you could absolutely collaborate on that.
Okay.
And then kind of the next stage is the kind of ability to get quote unquote language services. So like as the
Mm.
guest, can I get, like you see I'm hovering over this variable here and I see the value of current follower count. Um,
Yeah.
as we're editing, can I as a guest get auto completion and go to definition and those kind of capabilities that I would expect locally, but on your code base. And so for that, we currently support that for C#
Okay.
and for JavaScript and TypeScript. And
Okay.
so once again, if it was any type of .NET app, whether it's a console application, Xamarin, if it's C#, I would be able to get those capabilities. Same thing with the debugging. Right now, the debugging works for C# and Node. We have
Okay.
some also experimental support for other languages, and we'll be lighting up more long term because really our goal for LiveShare is for it to work for as many languages and app types as possible. But right now, we've just currently focused on optimizing the .NET C# experience and kind of Node.js development.
Okay.
So
It's you got to start somewhere. Then
you got to start somewhere, and we want to prove out the experience and get great feedback from followers like on your show, and then keep moving forward and engaging other parts of the broader developer community.
oh my gosh, yes. All right, so I'm going to let this finish. I'm going to click continue here on my side.
Yep.
And oh, look at all that stuff that it was doing. All right, and then it's going to come
Oh,
back and we will see it finished on your side and we can look at the browser again.
mm-hmm.
You navigate it and there's the very simple follower count page. Now, yeah, that follower count page is so simple. Um,
Yeah.
it's almost too simple, right? I mean, gosh,
Yeah.
it's
Life.
literally a CSS block here.
Mm.
So let's start cutting out what we want to start configuring here, and then we can start building a configuration page. We might actually be able to duplicate what we've already got for the follower goal and make it for the follower count.
That
So,
sounds great.
so why don't we stop showing your screen so we can show my Visual Studio full screen here,
Okay.
and that will. There we go. I'll switch to that, and that looks really scary. And we should see your video. Go ahead, stop sharing your screen so we get your camera back. There we go. All right. So now,
Awesome.
so we want to fill in this bit here, and I'm doing some stuff to put that little gradient on the followers count. So what I think we can do? Oh, did this finish? Hey, that finished loading. So if you want to try, there you go. If you try the Excel page, it looks like it's loading now for the sign up. All right, so I'm going to stop debugging.
Okay.
Um,
And I
so
immediately exited debugging on my end as well.
that's so cool.
Yeah.
So right now I have for the goal the which is this thing you see right here for my architecture workshop, right? I have a goal configuration and a goal action, right? The goal action is what actually formats that bar, and the
Mm-hmm.
configuration gives me that rich configuration screen that we've worked
Great.
on previously here on the stream.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we set up a count configuration that almost does the exact same thing, like mirrors this. So I'll start that here. So we'll make this go route. Let's see. We'll go followers count configuration. I don't really. Let's put a name on it. Sure. Configure follower count. And then I need to give it the I action results. right? And this is going to be count configuration. Now why? Yeah, count configuration. Looks good.
Looks great.
All right, now somebody messed with my tabs.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you if you were seeing weird tabs on your end too.
Yeah.
I'm
All right.
like, this looks funky. All right, there we go.
I'm used to two space tabs. All
Yeah.
right. Now, why
See,
am I
LiveShare
getting?
can.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna say LiveShare can maintain your theme, but if you have funky tabs in the code, then I unfortunately have to look at that too.
Mm. All right. So, oh, this should be a name here, right? Name equals. All right.
Yeah.
Now, this was just setting stuff for the Google Fonts API key. I don't want to get into changing the font dramatically yet, just
Mm-hmm.
because the Google Fonts configuration was, it was a real experience for us to configure. So for right now, I'm just going to return view.
Okay.
And okay, that clears that up, satisfies that. So I now have I currently have a count CSHTML over here. This is where that count formats, and this is the configuration that we're really going to change, is the things that we're going to set in here for that. The actual
Mm-hmm.
count configuration, I need to create another view here. So let me do that.
Yep.
If I say add new
And
item,
hey, Jeff, while you're doing that, one thing I wanted to just call out, since we were
please.
talking about this earlier, is that you jumped from followerscontroller.cs to count.cshtml, and I initially did not follow that file navigation. And the reason is because, as we talked about, LiveShare is meant to support both synchronized but also independent development. And so what I was able to do, though, is once I knew you did that, there's this other gesture I can do in LiveShare called pinning,
Okay.
where I can choose to follow along with your file navigations. And so as you move from file to file, or as you scroll around a file, I stay synchronized with you, which at this point makes sense because you're effectively walking me through the change that we're going to make.
Right.
And so
All
just
right.
kind of wanted to call that out for folks.
So one of the things that we had seen in previous times that we'd been working on, working with LiveShare, is that sometimes when we add files, it doesn't present those to the guest immediately. But I see you made it into this file.
Yep, I'm in that file.
All right, that's
I'm
cool.
I'm I'm pinned to you. You created it, and I immediately jumped into it, even though it's a totally new file.
Okay, so let's look at this. Real devs don't debug; they rate logs and tests. Ah, come on. All
Well,
right.
but hey, even if that's true, LiveShare doesn't force you to debug. You can go ahead and synchronize your logs and tests.
Sure. Right. Okay. That's not bad. Okay, I can buy that.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, with LiveShare, that's the one thing we are not trying to do, is impose any type of opinion about workflow. We want to be able to support as many possible, methodologies and way that the team works in a natural fashion.
Okay. So, and you use the way the team works. I mean, right now,
Yeah.
in the way that I've been using this, it's primarily been one-on-one, two people working
Mm-hmm.
together in live share. Can I
Yep.
add more folks to a live share?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, currently in the private preview, we have a limit on 6, but that's really just a matter of the UI being optimized for having large numbers of people.
Okay.
But we absolutely see a lot of people using LiveShare for, if folks are familiar with this term, mob programming or swarm
Oh yeah.
programming.
Oh yeah.
And so that's another very common use case that we see
Hmm.
and want to support.
Okay.
So yeah, we want
So
people to party on their code together, however many that is.
I love that phrase. Party on the code together.
Yeah, one of the original internal code names of LiveShare was Code Party, but
Really?
unfortunately that never saw the light of day.
Oh, wait a come on. We got to talk to our marketing folks. That would have been a great name.
Yeah,
Oh.
I agree.
All right. So I'm over here in the goal configuration app, and I want to steal a little bit of the way that this works. There we go. We got another follower. Thank you, Ariel BH. Um, and somebody's saying there, can't wait until this can be used for a code interview. Well, there's a neat way to use this.
Yeah, yeah. That's another use case that, I wouldn't say we're optimized for today, but we're very interested to understand how we can be able to suit that as well.
Mm. All right, so I'm going to start copying out a little bit of the information that we have here. I'm not sure if I need the hosting environment for this, but just to be safe, I'm going to copy that out, and I'm going to copy out, let's take the first row here well, no, I don't really need the caption. So let's keep going down here. Goal, current value, I don't really use those either, but I'll copy them. But there we go, font color. Let me at least grab through the font colors because the colors are a little bit that's really one of the primary things that I want to build here. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to copy and let's get rid of all this junk.
Okay.
All right, so I'm injecting a hosting environment. Um, mm,
And just so I know, Jeff, so the hosting environment, are you using that to allow basically hiding and showing content based on if it's dev or production? Is that what that's enabling?
that's a good question, and I don't remember. So let me go back to my goal configuration here and see where I may be using that. You're right. Down here, I'm only logging things to my JavaScript console if I'm in development mode.
Okay, cool.
And then well, this isn't using the hosting environment, but I'm configuring how I format my JavaScript.
Right.
So, all
Okay.
right. I think I'm good there. Eventually, we're going to need to build out some scripts to do this interaction. But for right now, I think I've got a good start here. So instead of configure follower goal, let's call this configure follower count. Fill out the options below to generate a customized URL to show off your follower count. All right, so now, yeah, here's where I have the preview. So
Mm,
you saw on the front page of the application there was a little preview there with a rainbow follower goal bar.
yeah.
So I want to do the same thing here and have it put the follower count in an iframe, just so it's easier to just load it from that other location.
Hmm.
All right, so I don't have a caption, I don't have a font name, so I'm just going to delete this row because I don't have these things. Goal and current value. Well, I do have a current value, and I don't really have a goal though. Um, do you think I should just remove the goal and just leave an empty spot there?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. So let's do that. I will just chop this. So it's just a current value. That way I can
Yeah,
kind of test and
it's
force a value into the number of followers.
yeah. I mean, it's possible that the font you choose in the preview is completely unreadable, and so being able to see what the current value is might help you see that problem.
Oh yeah. All right, so the next one I have empty background color. So when I have a bar that's filling up, that makes sense. But I don't
Mm,
really. I do have a background color when we look at the count. It's this here. So I may want to
mm,
continue to have a background color. It's just not the empty background color.
right.
All right, so let's just change this to background color.
Yeah, the follower goal is a bit more dynamic in its UI than this might be.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's a bunch of different pieces and I've also got the ability to do gradient here. I might be able to
Hmm.
do gradient at some point. But
Yeah,
it's probably a little bit beyond what we're going to be able to accomplish just in um, this one stream. Oh, our friends at Philly.net are hosting us on Mixer. Thank you.
cool.
Philly.net is my local user group. A number of their folks like to watch our content over there.
So,
Um,
hey, Jeff, I actually do have to ask you a question. Is it true that
oh,
it's always sunny in Philadelphia?
are you kidding? It is. We have 16 inches of snow on the ground, and you better believe it's still sunny in Philadelphia. Yes.
Man, I got to get out there one day.
But and I've been trying to make it a point that when I come out to Redmond, that I bring, and my Philadelphia friends are going to know this, that I bring tasty cakes with me. All right. Now,
Oh man.
tasty cakes are they're a Philadelphia snack cake. You know Little Debbie and you know Drake's cakes. They're
Mm-hmm.
nothing. Tasty cake is where it's at in Philadelphia. You get
Well, you better bring me some, man.
absolutely. I got to bring some for you for the live share team. I brought some for the MVP Summit folks when I was there. Gosh, we haven't looked at the chat room here in a minute or two. It would look nice teaching using live share. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Sunny with 14 inches of snow. Snow. Yeah, it reflects off the snow real good too.
Yeah, it's bright, very bright.
Oh yeah. Well, it's snowing still, and we changed to summertime in this upcoming weekend here in Finland. Janescu was saying, "Well, yeah, that's going to be interesting. Snowing in summer. Woohoo!
Yeah, go Finland.
Yeah, right. All right. So I have a background color. I don't really have an empty font color. I just have a font color.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't I move the background color? Let's move this one up next to the current value. Let's see. My cursor isn't giving me a carriage return here. There it goes. Let's see. So background color, and I need to change my columns here. Tell you what, do you want to get those columns lined up with the columns on 18 there? Because I'm going 4 and 6. While I clean up the fonts down here, because I only have one font color down here. So I'm going to remove my other font while you clean up line 22 up there. And I'll just make this font color.
Let's see, line 22. It actually looks good on my end. What was the issue you were wanting me to clean up?
So we have
Sorry.
the second column there with the background color. It's medium
Yeah.
4. It's spanning 4 columns. We want it to span
Oh,
6.
okay. Got it.
All right. So I've got that, and let's see, data background, data toggle. Okay, this is data for the color, my color selector. So I'll fix that. Choose a default. Oh, this is. Hang on. This bit is for doing contrast check. I'll come back to that. I feel like, and it's not. Yeah. Okay. I'm good there for right now. So, and the other thing that we've run into that I don't know if you guys are thinking about is when I scroll, it doesn't scroll right. If the guest scrolls Visual Studio, it doesn't scroll the host's Visual Studio if they're pinned to it. You know what I mean?
We're gonna fix that because of you, man.
Thank you.
You gave us that feedback, and we're like, all right, we got to do it.
That's it's if I'm pinned and I'm doing that passive watching, it feels like the right thing to do,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So I'm going to go up here. So right now we have the model is follower goal configuration. So I think we need a new configuration called follower count configuration.
Okay.
All right. So, and then where's my models? Let me go over to models. I'm actually just going to steal from follower goal configuration, right?
Yep.
Copy
See, this is
paste
real.
inheritance.
Yeah. Well, and hey, if you want to collaboratively copy and paste code together, then LiveShare enables it.
uh,
Usually copy and paste development is done in private and in the shadows. But now, we're
what's so
making it
wrong with
front and
that?
center.
Absolutely. Follower count configuration. That's not how you spell configuration. All right,
Let's
there we go.
destigmatize copy and pasting.
Absolutely. I'm going to control dot on that and move that to a different file. All right.
Okay.
Now, we used these display attributes, so that we could get good labels generated and eventually localize. So I should now have, where is it? Follower count configuration.
Mm-hmm.
And what were the two properties that we created? We created current value, background color, and font color. All right.
Right. Yep.
So let's create a property, string, font color. Create another property, yep, an int, current value, so that I can steal that same feature. And then it was the background color, right?
Yep.
All right. And then I had, what were the display options I had on those? They were, oops, just current value, follower goal. Tell you what, do you want to put the display attributes on those? And I will go start wiring up the controller so that I can pass those into my follower count my follower count page. So what I'm going to
Sure.
do so that we can see what's going on both, I'm going to split horizontally so we can see you working in the follower count configuration while I go over here to the controller.
Okay.
And I'm going to change count here so that we can pass in the follower count configuration. Right. So that was a model that we passed before. Cool.
Yeah, it's funny. Your tabs do seem kind of wonky.
Sorry, they're very short. I go with 2 space tabs so they can fit everything on screen.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. And let's see. I need to put that current follower count into the model if there isn't a value already set. So let me say if model current value if it equals 0, yeah, then I want to do model.current value equals yeah, stream service current follower count. All right. So now I'm pushing that into there. Don't I have to do something to make sure that it's right that I do have a model? Oh, if model state is valid. Ooh, yeah, I need to do that. If model state is valid, then do this. What do you think? I feel like I'm missing something here. And I'm kind of blanking on this. Let's
Let me
see.
jump back to where you're at. I was just off in the follower count configuration.
Okay. So, and those attributes look good. I'm going to close that.
Okay.
So, when I look at the goal, I'm receiving, if model state is valid, oh, I go to some documentation. Otherwise, I load default values and I'll return the view with the model. All right, so I'm going to, I don't, okay, let's say if model state is valid, if it isn't valid, I need,
Right.
right?
Yep.
Then go to some docs. All right, so we'll figure out the docs later. Docs count, let's call it, right? Docs follower count. I want to be a little bit more explicit. All right. Otherwise, if the current value equals 0, then we're going to load up the current value. Oops, I've got an extra this here. And let's see, return view, and then I want to pass back the model now. Okay, so now my count knows how to interact with the model that has those other properties, and I want to push. I need to change now my count page, not to receive and look at just that int, right, which is here, right? My model is an int. Now my model is a follower count configuration, right?
Right. Right.
All right. So my span where I'm outputting just the value, I need to say current value. And we can start filling in some of that color information too, here on the body and the font color. Now my font color, I've got this crazy stuff to do, the gradient right now. So I don't have enough features to do this without breaking the way that my current follower count looks. Now, Scott Hanselman was on with us last week and was making fun of the gradients. Like, oh, look at that. It's so cheesy looking. Just like how Scott does.
Dude, I
Um,
think it's nostalgic actually, right? It's you have this whole like community of people doing these like decentralized web applications trying to capture like the spirit of the 90s again. Like, hey, we should gradients everywhere, in my
gradients, all
opinion.
the things.
Yeah, more gradients.
More gradients. All right. I'm going to drop the background color in here because that one feels like easy. We've got this. Right?
Yep.
All right. So I've got the background color. Now the font color, I feel like I'm going to have to drop, right, these
Yep.
three until we figure out how to do the gradient.
Yep. Yep.
Oh, man.
Just put a color in there.
Oh, feels bad. Now, okay, I
'Cause while you're doing
comment.
that, I should be able to do this, right?
Oh, yeah. All right. But that's funny that I guess the Razor editor didn't recognize and do that CSS comment for me.
Hmm.
That's interesting, but all right. We'll contact our ASP.NET friends and talk to them about that. So let's see. So down here, so this is where we're hooking up to SignalR so that it'll get that new follower count as new
Mm-hmm.
folks join the stream.
Yep.
I don't think we need to change any of that. That looks
Seems to work
okay.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So if we run this right now, I don't have any default settings for background and font color. Right? I think that was a thing in the followers controller over here.
Yeah. Should we take what was in the CSS of count CSHTML and make that the default in the actual model or the controller?
Okay. Sure.
Mm.
Um, all right. So let's. Hmm, how do. Um, all right. So I feel like I'm going to have to do a bunch more of these if this to load the default values. But the way follower goal did load default values. Yeah, it does this same string is null or empty, and it
Right.
encapsulated and put all this
So it's a
here.
model level concern, which seems right.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. The
All right,
controller probably isn't the best place to do defaults.
you're right.
Well, arguably, the
Hmm.
console log guy might be disagreeing, but
Yeah, who was it who was saying about the console log? Who was it? Hmm. All right, let's see here. Um. Gosh, Web 2.0 and stickers. People are saying like nostalgia we all feel for 1990s websites.
yeah.
Uh,
Well, it's funny, I just heard this thing that was saying a study found that people's taste in music is kind of like set in stone when they're 16, and that might be the same case of like how you perceive like websites and general styling. We all just kind of are forever longing for the way things were when we were teenagers.
oh man. That just feels. Sorry, there's things I don't
Kind
want to bring back
yeah,
from when I was a teenager, like Ace of
GeoCity.
Base.
Well,
Ace of
it could be a
Base.
lot, could be worse.
Okay. GeoCities. I heard you were gonna say. Yeah, there's that. Sure.
I mean, a GeoCities website dedicated to Ace of Base, I would be all for it.
Oh man. All right. That's that's out there.
Yeah,
Not gonna touch that one.
it's a different conversation for another day.
Oh yes. All right. So, um, this I feel like where does it handle? Oh, okay. It did the same thing here. All right. So if I
hmm
I can do, I can start doing model dot load default settings and bring in the config. Oops, it's called model. Oh no, wait. Where did it pull that configuration from?
Configuration with a capital C was what the goal was using.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. Okay. This is I don't want to have this get too confusing, but I also
Yep.
provided a mechanism to put this configuration into app settings and it would load it from here so you didn't have to put it always on the query string.
Oh, okay. Or yeah,
Hmm.
or modify the defaults in code.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's a great feature. Yeah. Crap. All right. I'm going to ignore. Let's just pass. I'm gonna be a bad developer. I'm gonna be a yeah.
Well, let's think of it as let's be agile, Jeff. We'll shave that yak another day and make it
Yeah. I'm
configurable.
gonna pass null into this.
Oh, that's kind of bad, but
That's read this from disk. No, read this from app settings. Right. Okay. All right. I can live
I
with
just
that.
I don't want somebody seeing this code and then saying, "Oh, that was written on the show. Jonathan was there."
Now they're saying, do you still have your MySpace page in the chat room?
uh, it's probably still around. I haven't checked it
Mm.
a while.
Oh, don't want to go to that one.
Yeah.
And Vortex is already starting with all that she wants. Oh no, don't get that stuck in my head. Now, all right, so let me ask this. So I've modified this page on my side. You did a little bit of modification in this followers controller CS. Can you
hmm
save to my disk from your Visual Studio?
I can.
Okay.
You should have. Did
Yeah,
it save on you? Yeah.
I saw the red dot, the
Yeah.
dirty flag disappear. I
Yep.
didn't know you could do that. All right.
Yeah. What's actually cool about that is if you have like a file system watcher on your end,
Yeah.
then that enables me to actually trigger that. And so,
So if I had the .NET watch run command running on my machine, it would trigger on you. You could trigger it from your side.
that is exactly right. Yep.
Okay.
I
Okay.
was actually just speaking with Scott Hanselman and Damian Edwards last week about that exact scenario.
Mm.
And then there are equivalent workflows in other platforms like Node.js and stuff. And so yeah, when I save, it saves on all participant sides. But since you're the host, it's actually your file system. So that's where the
Okay.
watchers would have to be on running on your machine.
Okay. Standby reloading is asking for a job. Do you have any openings?
Reach out. Happy to chat.
So there you go. And we've got Jonathan's Twitter account listed there, Lost in Tangent, if you want to reach out and start a conversation.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. DM me on Twitter.
cool. All right, so you save, we've got this update. Let's come back over here and set those default values so it actually still works a little bit.
hmm
So I'm going to go if string is null or empty on the background color. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say background color equals, and I will set it to all 6 Charlies, right? That was the gray that I was using before. And I'll do a similar one here. If string is null
Huh.
or empty.
Wasn't it 333 before?
Was it 333?
Yeah.
All right. I'll make it 3s.
So what's cool, Jeff, is, not to beat a dead horse here, but on my side, I have an extension installed on VS Code that detects a hex color and makes the background color of that color visible. So as you're typing that, I can see exactly the shade of gray that it is. So
Ah.
and so it was very clear to me that the CCCCC was too light. In fact, it was 333.
Okay. So now my font color. Now my font color was a gradient.
Hmm.
I want to make it. I don't want to. I don't want to use a CSS color because the color selectors on the configuration page don't know how to use colors like sky blue.
Yeah.
So I think I just need to make it blue to start.
Okay. And I think we can actually make this background color just 333 since it's all repeated.
So
It's a little.
that's what I thought, but we'll take a look. We'll figure out where it is
We'll
here.
try it.
Yeah, yeah.
And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong on camera.
So look at this. Janescu is saying, soon there is to do. Impress Jonathan by doing this thing here. Yeah, that's going to be a pull request somebody's going to submit, right?
Yes.
All right. So
We
so we have a configuration. We have a count configuration page. I need to write a little bit of JavaScript in here so that it'll load up that preview in the iframe.
right.
So let me go down here. That actually we moved that out in a previous stream here into
Okay.
goal configuration preview.js. So I want to steal that same JavaScript, and I'm going to embed it here in the page for our count configuration, just because we're going to be iterating on it a lot, and I don't want to be flipping through too many of these. So there's a init preview. Okay, load preview. Right, so we also do a thing on the configuration page where I actually use local storage in the browser to load your last setting so it remembers it.
That's cool.
So I'm going to copy these two, and then we'll chop that up a little bit.
Okay.
All right, that's goal. Here we are, count configuration. So I need a section for my scripts, right?
And this is a section you defined in the layout?
Yes.
Okay.
Right, if I... where's my layout? That's a good question. Right, so Razor Views, in my shared, I have layout, and there is, down here, render section scripts. So anything that I put in that scripts area will get rendered and dropped here. Good call. Thanks for calling that out.
Yeah. Hey, man, I'm learning from you right now, so I just want to make... I want to learn, Jeff.
Oh, thank you. All right, so let's just drop in that little bit of code. So there was a quick preview button on my previous screen. I'm going to need that so that I can click and force a preview of what this looks like. These are the various text boxes. I'll need to fill out the names for these. Gosh, where is it? I think I can just say model dot. No. This is something different. Yeah. All right. I'm going to have to... All right. var configuration model. So I tried to get... So you do a lot of JavaScript. I did a thing here so I could get rid of some of those names of controls that I was pushing around on my pages. So what I did was I actually put together just a JSON object here that had the names of the fields on the page, so that I could refer to the JavaScript object and always get the same field name on the page. Wherever it was that I was working with my JavaScript. So at the point that I flipped into JavaScript mode, I wasn't concerned about doing a document dot and then some text, right? Document find element by ID and some block of text. I just had, here's the fields in my configuration model that I could go find. So
that sounds good.
All right, so I have the background color and the font color are really the two properties with the current value. I don't have any of these blend features, and I don't have a goal, and I also don't have a caption, so let's get rid of that. All right, so I have current value, and this is going to be a how did I do this before? Gosh.
Do you make them getter properties?
So, well, I made this a constant. See, I've got...
Oh, I see.
Right, so I do name ofs so that I kind of force the C# property name into my JavaScript, right? Without actually having the JavaScript refer to my C#. It's like generating code.
What does that name of actually do?
So name of, this is a C# feature, and all it does is it says, turn whatever this last object is, so in this case the caption property, turn that into a string and output it here. Right?
So the string caption?
Exactly.
Okay.
Which kind of feels backwards, but when my C# model changes, if I go and refactor the name of this block of code will change, but all of my JavaScript that references configuration model caption just keeps working and referencing the JavaScript
Oh,
caption.
interesting. Okay. Very
Yeah.
cool.
So I'm kind of cheating a little bit, I think. Or I'm generating JavaScript code, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
I'll do that, and then it was background color, right? Is it equals or colon? I always get these backwards. So
It's colon. It's colon. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Thank you, Chicken Bro Main. All right, we've got a new leader for the cool avatar of the day, Chicken Bro Main. That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
Makes me hungry for Chinese food. All right, background color, and then right, and it's giving me an error on name of. Oh, there it goes. It went away. All right. The last one was font color, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I'll do that at name of model dot font color. All right. So I've got this should be a const. It shouldn't be a var. We don't want you to change it. There we go. All right. So now I have these objects. So now it understands and it knows the text boxes that are on the page.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever there's a change in one of those, it's going to fire the load preview method and quick preview button. So I need a button so that when you click it, it actually fires load preview. Let's steal that also because I'm really good at stealing it. There's my preview, and then there's what the URL looks like that we generate. So I will paste those in right there. All right, so I have a preview button, and I have what the
Mm-hmm.
output URL looks like. All
Okay.
right. I don't. So. Oh, okay. There you are. All right. There's all the stuff for the fonts. I want to just comment these out for now. And it's figured out what the iframe width is. So let me comment these out because this is a little bit more than what I really need. And here's
Mm-hmm.
where it's building the URL that it's actually going to navigate to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isle87, thank you for the follow over on Twitch.
Awesome.
It's great to see more folks joining in. And we should call back to, if folks want to get live share today, go to that vsls.jeffreyfritz.com, fill out the survey, and you'll get access to Visual Studio Live Share later today. The code word to get access is Jeep, Jeep. All right. So this is going to followers goal. We're not showing the follower goal. We're showing the follower count. So I'm going to get rid
Right.
of this. And then I can put a question mark because we're going to start building out not the goal or the caption. We don't have those values. And I don't have a width. Now here's where it's going to start to get a little weird. I need to get the background color from the color selector, and I need to get the font color. So, oh wait a sec. Wait, I don't need those because I only have one background color. I don't have a gradient right now. So
Mm-hmm.
I'll get it from background color and background color, and then I can get rid of information about the empty font color. And now I'll get the font color also.
We can get rid of this fill font color too, right?
Yeah, and the font name below it as well, because I'm not doing the font name yet. Why don't we just comment that line?
Both?
Nah, just the font name. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so then this will build widget preview. So the widget preview, our iframe, it'll set the source to the URL template, and then it'll jam on the current value that we selected.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that looks good.
Okay. That does look good.
Um,
Then we log that template, which is good because for the console log guy.
yeah. Let me bring over that little helper log function that I had that was commented out when I wasn't in development mode here. Right? Because we don't want to
Mm-hmm.
always output that information.
Right.
All right, so I'll drop that here.
So this is where injecting the hosting environment pays off.
Yeah, right. So we'll have that. Output URL, text content is the template, output URL, and then I don't have a save values yet. Let me get rid of that.
Mm.
I'm feeling pretty good about this to just
It looks
give it a try.
like it should mostly work, Jeff.
Oh man. All right. Before we run this, let's see. Let me just check the chat room. I swear I haven't talked to Brady Gaster. Blah blah blah. Even some C# features or announcements we can miss. I don't know what that is. You can tell Jeff knows what he is doing because he's not had to go to Stack Overflow yet in any of the live streams.
As far as you can tell, he might be on another machine doing that.
I've got 3 machines here, okay? And what I don't show folks is, right, I've got 2 screens that I'm working on here, but there's actually 2 on the side as well. I've got 4 screens. I am a power user, Jonathan, all right?
I'm impressed.
But I actually used to like measure how well I had done in a day. Like if I had learned anything new, by how long it would take me. What time of day did I hit F1 on something in Visual Studio? Or I went and I Googled with Bing to go find, right?
Right,
So,
yeah.
oh my gosh, look at that. VSLS is still responding, took too long to respond. All right, that's crazy.
Wait, you mean the survey, right?
The survey's taking too long to respond? Look, it's heavy load probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would think that it should handle this. It should handle it pretty well. All right. So let's give this a shot. Now, I have wired up on my side to be able to hook up. I think it's Chrome I have hooked up for my browser debugging. Now, will you get the browser debugging on your side also?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's give this a shot.
Do it.
And then we can do some browser debugging as need be. All right, so I'll start this. It is slow. I could get through, but I could understand if others gave up. Okay. There are some big issues with routing in general on the internet at the moment from our friend Check Digits.
Oh.
All right. So immediately we can see our default
we
settings. Well, no. Right? Our default settings. Well, right. You're right.
Sorry.
The default value from you're right. It shouldn't be 0.
Unless all of your followers.
Everybody left.
Is so bad.
Sorry, guys. That was a bad show. There it goes. The connection to Twitch takes a little bit longer. It's an async to get that started. And there you can see the viewer count. It's pushing that down. So if I click through to the followers count, it is showing with that default blue background. But we put this at count/configuration. Let's see if that works. We've got something.
Oh, yes. I can see the form.
Okay.
I don't see a preview.
Yeah, we don't have the preview coming yet. All right, so let me do an F12 on this. Now, you're able to F12 and look at it separately in your browser, though, right?
That is true, yes.
Okay. So if I inspect the preview frame here, it doesn't. I don't have a source on that yet. So that's something we're going to need to figure out. Setting a default source. If I click preview, that's not wired up yet. So we're missing a couple things. We're missing the hookup of the preview button for the on-click here. Is this going to work if I change this? Does that on change? No. So it looks like all of my initialization stuff to load up the events isn't happening yet. Yeah,
there's a console log that's erroring because the font color input doesn't have a value. Which is likely because the initialization isn't happening.
Right. And my log isn't happening. I'm getting nothing in the log. Okay. I should be getting stuff in the log.
Does anything call that a init preview method right now? No, nothing's calling that.
Yeah, so we're gonna need to fix that. Is my I want to make sure that log is actually being formatted properly too, right? So I'm actually getting stuff outputted on the output on the console.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm gonna look here in follower count configuration, just make sure that that log outputted properly. Yeah, all right. Even though it's got terrible tabbing, that works. So do you wanna wire up those events, right? In an init. Hmm.
Where was it that you were calling a init preview in the goal configuration?
Good question. Um.
Because in the spirit of copy and paste, let's go all in.
Let's go all in. Oh,
Yeah.
let's see. The, Brendan has this stream open in 4 tabs right now. What the heck is that? You're messing with my viewer numbers here, buddy. All right. So the goal configuration, it isn't being called here. Is it being called in the preview.js?
It must be.
Init preview, load preview. It's got to be somewhere in here that it kicks it off,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah. It's got to be.
it's not. It's not. All right. Is it in this top level goal configuration? Yes. Look at that. So right, and immediately, what is it? Immediately invocable function. I forget what
Oh, yeah.
IIFE is, right?
Yeah. Yeah. An immediately executed function. Yeah.
Yeah. So we need this to kick it off. We don't need that. Don't need that. Yeah, load preview and then init preview. And then what's happening in this? Oh, this is getting stuff from local storage. Configure default font colors. So I don't need all of this, but I can really use most of this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, all right. So I'm
Just a little bootstrap code.
yeah. Yeah, let's just copy. I don't need it all the way down to save values yet. So let's yeah, follower count configuration. Oops. Not that one. I don't need to be in the layout. We'll come back to app settings. So I'll paste that in just so we get something started. All right. I don't need to init Google Fonts. I don't need to configure default font colors. Don't need this. Don't need to be loading from storage yet. And all of this stuff for loading colors. Right, this is for the gradient. So I'm
Do
not...
we even need this onload function at all?
No, I don't think we do. Yeah, what? Go ahead and yank that. Yeah, let's go ahead and kill that.
Okay.
Right, and then... So that gives us just load preview, init preview. Oh, we don't need line 56 either. Yeah.
Yep.
And we don't need the fonts panel. Let's just comment the fonts panel for now.
Okay.
All right, so now we're going to load preview and we're going to init preview. All right. Oh, and you already went and saved. Cool. So let's refresh the page and see what happens. No, didn't.
Nada.
Is loading from storage is not defined. Oh, oops. We still have that variable running around somewhere. Oh, there
Oh,
it
it's in
is.
load preview. Yeah.
All right, we can get rid of that.
Want me to take care of it for you, Jeff?
Please.
I want to provide you with outstanding service, man. So
All right, and I will refresh. Cannot access lexical declaration configuration model before initialization. Wow. All right, so it's right. That's that hoisting concept in JavaScript. Folks in the chat room, the code word is Jeep, Jeep. Go ahead and key that in. That'll get you in the program. Let me copy. Do these things all need to be in that function? I think they do.
the configuration model.
Yeah, because this is executing first.
We can move this up to the top. The problem is that when you use const, it forces a different type of hoisting behavior than you would if you had var. So we could just move this configuration model to the top of the script tag here, and that should resolve it.
All right, so I'll just alt up and move it up there.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, thanks last night for joining us. All right, so I saved. Uh-oh. I immediately see view engine errors.
Log is not a function, which makes sense because we never brought that over, right?
No, I did.
Oh.
But look! It did load the preview though.
Yeah, an unhandled exception here. Is that the preview I'm seeing is the exception message? Which is actually probably correct. The iframe is responding with that error.
So if you went and selected a current value and a background color, right?
Mm-hmm.
On your side, it should load it up for you.
Yep, it does work.
Cool. All right. But we do have this issue, log is not a function. Yeah, because the log is down here outside of, it's in a different scope, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we got to move that around also. Now, right, so there's init preview, there's load preview. Does this need to be moved? See, this is where I get confused. Does this just need to be moved above those functions or above the immediately executed function?
Let's just move it for the sake of clarity up to the very top, since it's kind of a utility function.
Okay. I can buy that. And save and try again. And it worked. Fantastic.
Nice.
Now, okay, so we're forcing a current value, and we'll see that SignalR will actually push down a new value for us. There was a thing that I put in the goal configuration. Yeah, see that it just updated to 1416 because there's a stub one out there that's actually incrementing the follower count every couple seconds.
Okay.
So let's see here. Standby Reloading says, I thought you were going to get rid of that followers since it was already part of the follower bar. I'm probably going to remove it from my video, but I want to continue. I want to keep the widget out here in case anybody wants to use it in the future. So good question. But there's a way that I shut the SignalR bit off here if it was running inside of an iframe. And I did that. Let me see. It was in where are we? Followers. So here's the goal that actually outputs the bar, right? The follower bar. And down here, there we go. If window self equals window top, then it starts the SignalR hub. Otherwise, it's hosted in a frame. Disable it. So I think we need something like this inside of my follower count.
Yep, that makes sense.
Right there. Okay, so hub start followers. Actually, it's even the same syntax. And I'm going to apologize now for that tab. Ugh. Oh my gosh. All right. So with that change, if we refresh the page now, it shouldn't increment the follower count. Yeah, in fact, look, hosted in a frame, disabling SignalR.
Awesome.
And do my font colors work? If I change this, let's make it like ugly blue. That works.
Mm-hmm.
And if I make the background like black. Cool. So we've got a simple configuration for this. That was
very
easy.
Cool. That was pretty easy.
All right. So let's we should probably, so I have follower goal. I don't have a follower count on the menu bar. So I should probably put another thing here for follower count so you can see the configuration. And also Yeah, this just goes here. I feel like I need a way to go to configuration, like a link to configuration here.
Yeah. I assume, did you have the same thing for the follower goal?
No, so, right, clumsy me. When you go to
Mm.
followers goal and you don't give it any information, I route to this little documentation page that I wrote
Oh, yeah, that's true.
that shows here's all the different things that you can configure. And because we've enhanced the configuration a bit since I wrote this, it's actually a
Mm-hmm.
little bit out of date.
Okay.
So this is something else I need to come back to and update. Um, but I want to put a link in here to our new current followers count. So I think this is the index, the home index. Yeah, there we go. So I will just add, yeah, let's put another anchor right next to this one. ASP controller, right? So this is a tag helper in ASP.NET Core too.
Mm.
Well, ASP.NET Core that we can use to generate, right? We used to do, right? Remember in MVC we used to do HTML.ActionLink and we had to fill in
Mm-hmm.
all the information about a MVC route.
Yep.
So this does the same thing, except I can say um, the name of this is not that one. Where is it?
Count configuration, right?
Yeah, was that the name of the action?
I believe so. Let me confirm.
All right. I'll just make this say configure.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go.
Yep. Yep. Count configuration is correct.
All right, so I can save that. And then if we refresh the home page, I now have a configure button. And thanks for the follow, Cracked Sky 78868. I'm guessing that's a zip code at the end of there. Where is that? Cracked Sky. All right. Hey, welcome.
Mm.
I feel like configure should be bumped over a little bit.
Yeah, it
It's
looks like it's a space in the count URL.
yeah. Do you want to move it over a little bit, and I can keep refreshing here? We can see what it looks like.
Sure.
You could do margin on it, or we could do just non-breaking spaces.
Yeah, that I'm gonna go with, even though it makes me feel a little bit dirty, to be honest with you, but it gets the job done.
It does.
Um,
It does.
so that makes it look a little bit better. Let
That's
me
not bad.
add a
It's
few
at least
more.
separate. And isn't there a,
There we go.
or, you know what, isn't there a Bootstrap class to make it look like a button?
Does this app use Bootstrap?
It does. Right, this
Yeah.
is a Bootstrap menu bar.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there definitely is. Is it
Uh,
just BTN is the class?
is it, let's see here. Yeah, that, and we should get IntelliSense
Hmm.
from
Let's
that.
see. That
BTN
didn't.
is what the Hugo doll says. Cool. All right. So if we,
Yeah.
it's out there, but it doesn't. I thought there was another BTN class there that goes with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I tried BTN. That didn't seem to work.
If I look at, so while you're there, I'm gonna roll over to goal configuration because there's a couple of buttons here. There BTN dash
Okay.
secondary.
Okay. Let's try that.
That's not bad.
I think that looks pretty good, man.
And it's even got a little rollover effect to go with it. I'll click it, and it goes to our configure follower count.
Yep.
That doesn't look good. So here's where we're not handling. Oh, it's trying to go to that docs page, and it doesn't exist.
Yes, that's
And I'm
right.
and I'm and somebody wrote load null.
Load null.
Right, load
Oh.
null for the configuration.
Yeah, who did that?
I don't. Some.
Well, it's water under the bridge, Jeff. So.
All right. Right? Isn't that what it's erroring out? So the view docs follower count was not found. Okay. So that's what it errored out. It's trying to find the docs for follower count.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's easy enough to add, just so there's something there, right? So if I add new
I went
item.
ahead. I actually just added it for you, Jeff.
Did you? Oh my
Yeah, was
gosh.
it
Okay.
docs underscore count dot CSHTML?
Was it? It. Tell you what. While you're there, I'll bring up the errors here. Let's see. Um, docs underscore follower count.
Okay.
But that seems redundant. I think you're. I think I like docs underscore count better.
Okay. Yeah, because we've got count CSHTML, so it kind
Yeah.
of
And we're
matches
in
that.
the followers folder, so
Right,
it's almost
right, right,
redundant.
right. A little bit.
Uh, all right. So I can come back over. Where did it go? Yeah. Return view docs count. Oh, I can't change it without restarting. All right. I'm gonna stop debugging and restart because I don't want to modify any more C sharp. Let's just
Okay.
get the razor working.
We're in full-blown Razor mode now,
Yeah,
which is a fun place to be.
it is. All right, so if I do configure now. All right, so now I get this ugly preview here. At least it's not erroring out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's doing that because the model state is not valid. All right, how do I get a default to load there so at least it shows something? Um, so my follower goal config.
Well, when I look at the goal, the action you have for the follower goal,
Yeah,
it looks like you're not, let's see.
I don't load the default values till after I check the
Yeah.
model state. But am I doing anything that follower count, follower goal? Let me go over to follower count configuration. Follower count configuration. We don't have anything that really enforces anything over here to make.
No.
Standby reloading
There's
suggests resharper gives red squiggles when you reference a view that doesn't exist. That's handy. That feels like something that could be added to Visual Studio easily. I
that is
registered for
handy.
this. Is this the new feature to Visual Studio with remote debugging and such? Remote pair programming and collaboration, like you see us doing here.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I'm gonna kill this name pronouncing it. Janos Audrey. Welcome. I haven't seen your name in here before. Terrific. Oh wow, I got it right. Janice Audrey. All right.
Cool.
So we're not even loading the default settings here. All right. Yeah, why would that be invalid? That feels weird.
Hmm.
Legacy of Kane reference. All right. You know what? For right now, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Okay.
Let's come back to it because I think there's one or two other things that we can
Focus on.
focus on. Yeah. So I had mentioned right, and I want to get rid of that load null thing that
Mm-hmm.
we started, and it was, and I feel shame. Load default settings null. That's just, yeah. That's, I'm sorry. So follower configuration settings for the goal is here as a group in app settings.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've seen how ASP.NET Core loads and manages configuration, but we can actually load this and put it into our dependency injection container as configuration, and then pass that around from classes to classes that need it inside the application. So I think if we just add another section here called follower count, and I can give it some of those same names that we have here, that match up with our property names. So background color, and I'll make that default. It was 333, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. And the other one was font color, and for that to be blue, it'll be, what is it? RGB, right?
Yep. Correct. Yeah.
All right.
That is bright blue. Yep.
That'll be, yeah, that bright ugly blue.
Yeah.
All right. Wow, a couple questions in the chat room I just want to touch on here. Space Shot says, wanted to say I mentor at a hackathon for high school kids, and they were baffled why they couldn't work on code together like a document or Office Online. They're going to love this
Mm-hmm.
feature next year. Thank you and your team, Jonathan. Oh, that's great to hear.
Awesome. That is great to hear. Thank you.
And Janice Audrey says, is this released or are you using a preview version of LiveShare? You are. You are seeing a private preview, but folks that are watching the stream right now, if you go to vsls.jeffreyfritz.com, and folks, if you can reshare the link there in the chat room, fill out the form there and put in the code word Jeep, JEEP. You'll get registered, and Jonathan's going to give all of our viewers that register in that form access to LiveShare today, even though it's in private preview. All right, so I have the color, I have that there. Now I can load this configuration into my configuration object using a method in my startup class. Now my startup class I've actually refactored a little bit, so I actually have it living over here in configure services. Let me scroll down here where there it is. This is where I'm configuring my follower goal configuration. I actually grab that configuration model class and I say, load this object up with everything that's in the follower goal section. So I'm just going to do the exact same thing.
And so this line makes it such that if a controller says it wants a follower goal configuration object, it'll pull it from this,
Exactly.
from the config file,
Yep.
the app settings.
Cool.
Cool.
Right, we'll get that to start. So it'll be follower count, right? And we pulled it from follower count. So if that configuration is in app settings JSON, it'll load it up and populate it, right, so that we can inject it into, let me go over to that, right, to that, where did my controller go? Follower controller.
Followers controller.
Is it followers controller? See, I don't I don't know my own code now.
Dude, I was already there. You could have pinned to me.
Here we go. You're right. I should have done that. So I'm going to inject also, right? And this is kind of the magic of this. Folks are saying the link doesn't work in Chrome. No, it should work in all browsers. It's just going to an Excel survey. I'm going to pass, right? So this is, and I've heard folks complain this feels like magic. This is the injecting of things from I don't know where. They're just being passed in. It's the HTTP version of the link will work for everyone. There you go. This shouldn't be just configuration. Now I've got two configurations I'm passing in. So I actually want to rename this. Now, can you do a refactor rename from your side?
Let's try it. What is it that you would like me to?
So the initial configuration that I'm setting here is the follower goal configuration. So I feel like we should rename the property to goal configuration.
Goal configuration. All right.
Right.
So the property on 43.
Yeah. Right. So if you do isn't there a refactoring gesture in Visual Studio?
Yep.
Yeah.
I just did it.
All right. So that worked over LiveShare and just fixed all my code.
And once again, I do not have the C# extension for C#, but the rename was able to work for me.
Okay. Very cool.
Pretty cool.
Wait. That's not going to work because we already have a method named goal configuration.
Oh, okay. What should I rename it?
Should it be
This is the conundrum, right? What do you optimize for, the
I
model
know.
or the action? Because we could rename the action method and the name of the method doesn't matter because since we're using a route, right?
You're right. All right, so let's rename the action method. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
And why don't you rename the action method to something else? I'm going to split my screen so we can see you down there working on the action method. Uh, where is it? I just passed it. There's goal
I'm
configuration.
29. Yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to save off, I will call this count configuration. Oh, see, I've got the same thing there too.
Let
Hmm.
me change. I can add. That's one, I guess, the powerful things of being able to explicitly set a URL route on an action is that you can either be convention driven, I guess, from the function name or control it explicitly.
Oh yeah. Now, and all right, this is a feature that I kind of stumbled on. I can see
Hmm.
where you are here in the gutter, right in the scroll bar, right. The green and the yellow shows the lines that have changed, but that red is you.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Oh man. Okay. Right. So I can. It's almost like spying. I can see where you are in the file.
Hey, man. Personal space, Jeff. Come
Okay.
on.
All right. All right. So so now I'm reading in my count configuration. So now, right, I should be able. Let me merge that back up.
Hmm.
And I'll jump down to where you are. So now instead of loading default settings from null, we should be able to read them from my count configuration that was loaded.
Was it this
No, it
or
was
be
it
count
was
config? Yeah,
count
that's right.
configuration. Yeah, yeah. Dueling cursors. Cue the banjo. So all right, so it'll load the default settings if there weren't any from either app settings and because of right ASP.NET Core has
Mm-hmm.
this interesting hierarchy of configuration, right? If it's not in
Hmm.
app settings, it'll try and load it from environment variables, but it'll load it in appropriately now. All right, so we've
That's actually cool. I didn't know it did that.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
So that also works really great if you have Docker containers. So if I put this whole application in a container, I can
Oh,
pass that in as an environment variable and it'll just work.
oh, right, because the app setting file would be kind of immutably part of the container, but the environment variable is the thing I can override at the kind of run level.
Yes,
Um,
at
that's
runtime.
awesome at
Yeah.
runtime. Cool.
Nifix is asking, did Jonathan get IntelliSense in his Visual Studio?
I absolutely did.
So, all right. We showed a
Yep.
little bit of
Yep.
that earlier. Mord Zuber is asking, should people already in the preview still fill out the survey? You don't need to. If you're already in the preview, you don't need to. You're welcome to. I'd appreciate getting a little bit of those that follower information, but you certainly don't have to. I'm working on a final year project for uni, and I think this would be frowned upon. Really?
Hmm.
Why do you think folks would frown upon this, Woodsy? Um, well, expert. Did they fix that recently? Because most of my other guests have had trouble with that. We think there was a little bit of a performance problem, right? You
Mm-hmm.
were saying there's a
Yep.
little bit of a performance issue in the past with that.
Yeah, we're, actively while we're in the preview phase improving performance, and sometimes the completion specifically can time out. And so
Mm.
yeah, if you've seen other folks streaming with Jeff and it didn't work every time, that's probably why. But yeah, on my end, I've been getting, rename refactoring, completion, navigation within the workspace. It's been working great. So
And I think there's something to be said for you know the comments that folks have had in our chat room for earlier streams. You guys have been either I've been sending over, hey, we've got these questions, we've had this issue, and you guys have been on top of it, improving the service as we've been going along here.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said in the beginning of the show, the live share team is big fans of your stream. We've been watching it weekly.
Okay.
And in fact, we kind of like to watch and see as things don't work for you or your guests. and use that to help inform anything that we're not already aware of. So
Gosh, you
it's
have a
it's important for us to.
yeah, you have a
Sorry, what
full
was that?
recorded video of here's a scenario that worked differently.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Yeah, and it's because it's unscripted. There's all kinds of unpredictable things people will try that we'd love to see when they don't. So
Mm.
super super helpful.
All right, I'm going to jump back into app settings here. So these are the default settings that I have here, and then in
Yeah.
my so it'll be the gray with the blue. Let me go over to the model. Where was it? It was this one. And I was forcing default settings in here if they weren't in the configuration file. Let's make these something a little bit wackier so that I know that they're loading from disk
Hmm.
instead.
Okay.
Um, so, gosh, I'm trying to think, what's lime green in CSS for
Lime
like a
green.
font color, you know? CSS for lime green, and then put it on like a black background. So I'll make the back.
Lime green. Would that be a green with a little bit of blue in it? Like, I'm
No,
not even.
there's actually that color lime, right?
Oh, you mean like the keyword name?
Yeah.
I thought you meant the hex value. I'm like, what would that be?
Well, yeah. What is it looks like? I just did a quick search for it. It looks like 32CD32. All right, so we can for the font color. Let's make it right 32CD32. So we
That
should.
is lime green.
All right. Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
you've got a plugin on your side that shows
Yeah.
that.
The moment you type that, it's very visibly lime green.
All right, so we should never see green on black when this runs because it should load from my app settings and get the gray background with the blue text.
Okay.
Let's give it a shot.
Let's do it.
Oh, and standby reloading is calling it Charlie Charlie Fox Fox 00. Oh, maybe it is. But we should see the gray with the blue here. All right.
Uh, I see the green.
I see the green. Why is it showing me the green?
Uh, is it
Hmm.
because we're checking null or empty on the font color property of the model, not the config that's coming in that we're passing in?
Yeah, do I have that background? Do I have that? Oh, wait. I'm never setting the config value that's coming in. Look at that.
Yeah.
Right? So these default values. Um, wait, I have this backwards.
Yeah, because if you look in the follower goal configuration class,
Yeah. Okay.
you check against the property, but also then the configuration. So if this dot font color is null or empty, then you use it from the configuration. Otherwise, you use it from a default value in code.
Oh. Okay. So let's fix that.
So it's sorry.
We're in debug. We got to stop.
Okay.
All right. So if it's null or empty, how do we do that again? If it's null or empty, then we set it equal to what was passed in.
So we can borrow from what you had in the follower goal one,
Okay.
or you're instead of using an if statement, you're using the
Right.
font color equals if font color is empty or white space, then you
Okay.
pull it from the config. Otherwise, empty, which I guess we would just make this.
Yeah, make it that ugly color.
Whoa. Okay.
There it is.
We
So then we want to do the same thing with the background color.
Yep. So let's see. Let me pull that over. Go ahead and take care of that.
All right. Welcome, Winter Zenith. And Slushy Ursa, welcome. Thank you for the follows. Let's see.
This background color is either.
I can't. Janice Audrey says I can't use it with my colleagues and clients yet, but still good to have. Actually, you are able to use it. You only need to be in the program to be a host.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can be a guest and join a live share session.
That is correct.
So the sign up that we're doing today is going to allow everybody to be a host, and you'll be able to have anybody be able to join as long as they install the extension in their Visual Studio Code or Visual Studio. Cool. All right, so let's. And you already saved it.
Yep.
So let's give this a shot this time, and we shouldn't see the green because it should load from app settings.
Yeah. Fingers crossed, Jeff. Fingers crossed.
It loaded from app settings. Cool.
My goodness.
Done. Ship it.
Yep.
And actually, we're just about at time here, so why don't we just do that? Let's start getting ready to ship it. I'm going to do a git status here. Take a quick peek at what we've changed. I think, what did I change in CS Proj?
We added some files.
We added some files, but I don't think... Yeah, we added the analyzers in there. I don't want to add that just yet because I don't want to... I haven't published my analyzers yet that we worked on Tuesday. Ooh.
Okay.
So I want to add all these other files. All right, so I'm just going to start git add. I don't want to type all that git add. That's a pain in the neck. I'm going to cheat and go into Visual Studio Code. Lone developer seeking friends for VSLS.com. Are we going to start seeing in the chat room? Our friend Joe Bun wrote here a new website, lone developer seeking friends for VSLS.com.
Yeah, we actually have in our team Slack channel that anyone can join into. We have a room called Demo Booth that is all about if anyone wants a live share buddy to try something out on, hit us up. Myself or someone else on the team will be happy to do some cool stuff.
And that's an open Slack that anybody can join?
Yep. It's linked off of our GitHub repo that we use for hosting our docs and our issue tracker. There's a link to it from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to say added follower count configuration. And good. I can close that. And now I should be able to push. And we've published our changes. Fantastic.
Amazing.
We've done it.
Unbelievable.
So we learned a little bit about all the different features in Visual Studio Live Share today that are currently available. We've got everybody now has access to Visual Studio Live Share. They're going to be getting it throughout the day today. I've already given you access to that Excel sheet behind the scenes. The Slack URL, what's your GitHub page for that? You know what?
So
I actually think I linked it from my live stream page.
Okay. Yeah, it's github.com/Microsoft/live-share.
Ah, there it is.
Yeah.
This is the docs. You're also...
Well, but this is also, so if you go down the docs, you'll see the little Slack icon.
Yeah, there it is. Yep.
So
okay.
Folks, please join in there. Let us know how we can help. And then this is also our issue tracker. So you'll notice we have 89 issues, many of which are actually feature requests. So our team is...
That's a good problem to have.
Our team is extremely transparent about stuff we're working on, and everything that's kind of on a roadmap is in there. So if folks want to help upvote and help us prioritize, what we should be focusing on, that's super helpful.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The question in the chat room, why the VS Code Git extension, not the built-in from Visual Studio? I like VS Code's interaction with Git a little bit better. That's just me. It's, personal preference. Our friend Brady Gaster, awesome show, guys. Everyone join in and start live sharing. Yes, everyone should.
Yeah,
Very cool. So we've got a couple links here today. I'll make sure that I make those available with the published information for this show. I'm going to archive off this video. We'll push it over to YouTube, and we'll let folks on YouTube join in on live share. We'll give them a day or so to sign up. And what else? A couple other things. Saturday, I will not be broadcasting. Saturday, I'll actually be on the road, heading, literally traveling to Dev Intersection in Orlando. I'll be pair programming on Tuesday next week, live on stage with Shane Boyer. We'll be using a little VS Live Share there. You'll be able to watch here on Twitch and Mixer, and if you're at the show, you'll be able to ask questions in person. That's going to be a little crazy.
that's cool.
Oh, yeah. So, Jonathan, thank you so much for joining me again. I know it's early out there. We really appreciate the work that you and your team are doing on Live Share. This has been great. Thank you so much today.
Yeah, thank you. This was really fun.
Cool. Brady asks, when is that? That'll be Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. my normal time. I'll be broadcasting from Dev Intersection. So thanks so much, everybody, for tuning in. We'll see you on Tuesday for my next stream. Take care.
Awesome. Bye.